Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all good? I hope so. Okay, so the last time we got to meet Daphne, we learned a little bit more about her, and where we left off was with Lewis. He went to the hospital to see Monica. He made the deal with Nate to help him find Freddie. So now we finna get into Lewis finding out some things. Daphne, everybody. It's a whole bunch going on. So let's get into it. So after Lewis left the hospital, he took a bus over to Freddie's mother's house, hoping that Freddie's mom would let him stay there. But when he got off the bus and walked to the house, he was shocked to see that there was nothing there. It was nothing there but a pile of old wood where a house used to be, encircled with the fence, and there was a dumpster in the yard. There was also a sign on the fence that read, Dante Demolition. Now Lewis realized that Freddie wasn't lying. Nate really did use him. Lewis felt bad for Freddie, but he shook that emotion off because Freddie could have came to him and they could have worked against Nate. But Freddie decided to do things his own way, and now both Nate and Monica were in the hospital. So Lewis went on to Freddie's uncle's house, and he was hoping that he wasn't there because he wasn't sure about, how happy the man was going to be to see him after everything that had happened. He knocked on the door and saw somebody look out of the curtain. When the door opened, it was Freddie's mom. Lewis, is that you? Come here, child. Come on in. She gave Lewis the type of hug that only a mother can give. She told Lewis to come on in, but he was a little hesitant. She let him know that Henry was out of town for a week, and then he came on in. She gave him a cold glass of lemonade, and they sat on the couch to talk. Moms, you know why I'm here. I really thought you were in jail. I was, but they let me go. It's a long story, but I'm here because Freddie... No, Lewis. No. Fred was here. He told me that he did something horrible. Then the police came looking for him. And I didn't lie to him when I said I didn't know where he was. And I don't want to start now. So I don't want to hear it. And she broke down into tears. Lewis got up and went over to comfort her. And he asked her if she knew where he was. I don't know. I told him not to tell me. Lewis got up and looked at Moms, and that pissed him off even more than he already was with Freddie because he felt like Freddie should have known the grief that he was going to cause everybody who loved him, but obviously he didn't give a damn. Then Lewis asked to use the phone, and he tried to call Freddie, but the call went straight to voicemail. Moms, Freddie did something bad, and he's hurt a lot of people, including you, and I don't like that. I'm going to find him, okay? I am going to find him. I'll let you know everything that happens, but I got to go now. Where? Lewis, have you eaten? No, ma'am. You got a place to stay, baby? No, Moms, I don't. Well, like I said, my brother went, he out of town for a week. He won't be back anytime soon. So you can stay here and do what you need to do to find Freddie. But until then, baby, get comfortable so I can fix you something to eat. So the next day, Lewis went to the Department of Children and Family Services. He waited in line until he was called to the window. Can I help you? I need to talk to someone about getting my daughter back. The lady, whose name was Eva, passed Lewis a number. Lewis looked at the number, which was number 136, and then he looked at the digital counter that was showing number 78. He passed the number right on back to Eva and told her that he needed to speak to somebody now. And Eva let him know, sir, do you see all of those women out there? They are all waiting to see somebody, but they have their children. Somebody else has mine, and I need somebody to tell me how to get her back. You'll have to speak with a counselor. And today is our busiest day. Come on. What's your name tag say? Eva. Come on, Eva. Please help me. I wouldn't be asking if it wasn't important. Eva leaned over and whispered something to her coworker, and then she hung a sign in her window that read, "Be back in 5 minutes." She then gestured for Lewis to follow her, and they went into an empty office. Okay. Now what were you saying? So Lewis told her everything from Selena passing away to him getting out of jail to Monica being in a coma. And the last time they spoke, she said that she no longer wanted to be with him and that the man that Monica is with now is the one who is keeping his daughter away from him. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. And it's sad, but it should be very easy to fix. But listen, I am not a social worker. or a counselor yet. I'm just an associate. But from what I know, that man has no rights to your daughter. She's legally yours, right? Yes. Okay. I need her birth certificate because I will need proof that she is legally your daughter. But I don't have it. Eva could tell that Lewis was starting to panic. It's okay. It's not a problem. This is what you'll need to do. The records office is like 15 minutes down the street. Just go down there, show them your ID, and get a copy. Once you have it, bring it back, and someone should at least be able to start the process to help you get your daughter back. You're not playing with me, are you? No, I'm not playing. Now, it may take a few days, but no, I wouldn't play about anything like that. Louis jumped up and gave Eva a hug. Eva told him that she wished she could do more because it was rare to see a man fighting to gain custody of his children. Well, that ain't me. I'm going down there to get that birth certificate and I'll be right back. Louis felt so good when he walked out of that DCFS office that he felt like he made it to the records office in about 5 minutes. So Louis stepped up to, the clerk at the county clerk's office. How may I help you today, sir? I need to get a copy of my daughter's birth certificate. The woman passed Louis a form, told him to complete it, then bring the form back to her along with his ID and $8 to cover the fee. Once Louis was done, he gave the woman everything she asked for and she told him to come back in 30 minutes to pick up the birth certificate. Louis decided to wait in the hallway and he was thinking about how satisfying it was going to be to see the look on Nate's face as he lifted Layla out of his arms. But he also couldn't help but to think about Eva. She was so helpful and she was also very beautiful. As soon as the 30 minutes hit, Louis went back at that counter, baby, to pick up that birth certificate. He thanked the lady and walked off. She called out to Louis to let him know to check the birth certificate and make sure that everything was right before he left the building. Louis was walking down the hall as he was pulling the birth certificate out of the envelope, and he felt kind of odd because he had never seen his daughter's birth certificate before. He couldn't do nothing but smile when he read her name. But then Louis stopped right in his tracks and went right back into that office. Excuse me, is this some kind of joke? That's not my name. That's not my name right there. Where the father's name is supposed to be, that's not mine. Mr. Waters, I don't know what to say. You can tell me why this form is wrong. Sir, I don't know if the form is wrong. I'm telling you that the form is wrong. Who is Brian Wilson? And how did his name get on my daughter's birth certificate? Were you at the hospital when your daughter was born? No, but that still doesn't explain how this man's name is on her birth certificate. Mr. Waters, the mother tells the hospital the name of the father. So you're telling me that I'm not the father? Is that what you telling me? No, I'm just saying that the mother put someone else's name on the birth certificate. Louis was really going off now, and by that time, security dragged Louis up out of there. He didn't go back to the DCFS office because he did think there was a point, especially if he wasn't Layla's father. He just wandered the streets for the rest of the evening trying to avoid doing what he knew he was going to have to do. So Louis went to a coffee shop and placed the call. Hello? Celicia? Yeah, this Celicia. Who is this? It's Louis. Celicia was quiet for a minute. Then she told him that he wasn't getting that money back. Louis told her that he wasn't calling for any money. I need you to tell me something. Oh, okay. What you want to know? Louis was so nervous, but he took a deep breath and asked Celicia if Layla was his daughter. What you mean, Louis? You heard me, and don't act like you don't want to hurt my feelings. And don't lie to me. I need to know if Layla is my daughter. I need to know the truth, Celicia. Louis, there were other men. When you were with Selena, she told us there were always other men. And she ain't know for sure who the hell the father was. Now back over there with Freddie. Freddie was sitting in Joni's backyard trying to figure out how to escape. He didn't want to get Joni, caught up in any of this. And plus, Joni was getting attached to Nathaniel, so he knew he had to hurry up and figure something out. Freddie was about to go back into the house, but then he heard some banging at the door and he thought it was police. But he heard someone say, "Joni, open up. I know you in there." Freddie started walking around the side of the house to get a look at the man. He heard Joni open the door and she asked him what did he want because she told him not to come back to her house. When Freddie peeked around the corner of the house, he saw a short man wearing a white tank, baggy jeans, and forces. He had a couple of muscles but a big belly. He could hear the man telling Joni that he was sorry and that he wasn't gonna, let her keep playing with him and she needed to get it together. And right when he said, "Or," Freddie walked around to the front where they were talking and he said, "Or what?" Dude wanted to know who he was, and Joni was telling Freddie that he didn't need to get involved. But Freddie ignored her and told old boy that he was an old friend of Joni's, and what he heard the lady say was she didn't want him over there anymore. The dude's name was Sam. So Sam walked right up in Freddie's face and asked Freddie was anybody talking to him. Then he told Freddie to let him deal with his woman, and when he was done with her, that he'll deal with him. Freddie had already put his hand around his keys ready to jab Sam in the throat if he had to. So Freddie told Sam that since he didn't know him and didn't know how crazy he might be, that he was going to let him walk away this time. And Sam could tell by the look in Freddie's eyes that he just might be as crazy as he sounded. So he told Joni that he would be back and they were going to talk about what just happened. Then he drove off in his broke down Impala. Freddie and Joni went back in the house and Freddie said, "I thought you said you had all this under control, but it don't look that way to me." "It's none of your business, Freddie. When you're ready to stay here a while, then you can start calling shots. Until then, stay out of my business." Now, it was starting to get late and Nathaniel was getting sleepy. He started telling Freddie that he wanted his daddy and asking when were they going to see him. Freddie told him that they'd see him soon. Joni came downstairs and she noticed that Nathaniel was yawning, so she took him upstairs, read him a story until he fell asleep. Then she came back downstairs and sat on the sofa with Freddie, just a cheesing. And Freddie wanted to know what was she so happy about. And she said that Nathaniel was a sweet little kid and that she always wanted kids, but she guessed that God didn't think the same since she never had any. But Freddie told her not to think like that because he could see that she would have been a wonderful mom just by how well she was taking care of Nathaniel. She appreciated that. Then she gave Freddie a quick peck on the lips and then moved in for a longer kiss, but Freddie pulled away. And Joni thought it was because she couldn't have kids, but Freddie let her know that it just wasn't the time because there's a lot going on. Just then, there was a knock at the door, and Freddie got nervous. Joni went to the door, and Freddie heard a man say, "What's up, girl? I got company, and I need to borrow your corkscrew." Freddie heard the man walking towards the living room, and he just sat there trying to act normal. "Oh, girl, I didn't know you had company. Hey, how you doing? My name Billy." "Hey, I'm John." "Nice to meet you, John. Listen, girl, I'm going to go ahead and grab this corkscrew and let y'all get back to whatever it was y'all were doing because I have a little party going on myself." When he walked off, Freddie gave Joni a stern look because the guy had on the police uniform. Billy grabbed the corkscrew, said his goodbyes, then left. "Why didn't you tell me you had a cop living next door to you?" "Well, first of all, he's not a cop. He's a mall security guard. Second, you haven't told me what's going on, so I didn't know that made a difference. And third, he doesn't live next door. He stays about 50 yards away." "Well, does he carry a piece?" "No, I just told you. He's a security guard. He got a flashlight." Freddie was so stressed after that interaction, he had to go to bed because he knew then that he really had to figure out how to escape. Now over there with Daphne, she invited Trevor over because she felt bad about the things she said to him at his office the other day. He walked in with 2 outfits from Babies R Us, which Daphne thought was cute, but at the same time a little too early since they didn't even know what she was having. Trevor asked Daphne if she was serious about not letting him be in the baby's life, and Daphne said that she wasn't. She was just emotional, even though she was lying. She only said it to keep from hurting him any further. But she did bring up his wife again, and Trevor is convinced that when the time comes to tell his wife that she will understand that he wanted a child, but she wasn't willing to give him one because she said that she didn't want to commit her time to a child, and that he didn't understand what all a woman's body goes through. He felt like his wife would accept the baby and welcome the child as if it was her own. Daphne was looking at him like he was delusional and asked him if that was his plan. Trevor said that it was, and Daphne could just, all thing she could do was just look at him and say, well, it's a start. She gave Trevor a hug, thanked him for the clothes, then he left. And when she locked the door, she told herself that she knew she couldn't keep that baby now because Trevor was not making any sense. The next day at work, Daphne decided that she was going to make that her last day. And since she had a full day, she was going to do a last round of drop-offs to the doctor offices and hospitals. She was preparing to load her cart, but she was trying to find the osteoporosis. But she was startled by someone behind her and she jumped. What's up, Daphne? Oh, hey, Parker. I'm just in here grabbing some OsteoFlex samples for the visit that I have today. Oh, well, those are at the front. Do you want me to help you load your cart? Yes, that would be great. Parker loaded 4 cases and apologized again about the situation with the department closings. Daphne told him that it was okay and that he'd given her an out, but she just didn't take it. He reassured her that she would have another job in no time because she was just too good at what she did. And that's when she brought up all of the vacation days that she has. I was thinking, instead of paying me for those days, I'd rather just take them and leave early. What do you think? Oh, really, Daphne? Well, you know we're going to miss you around here. I thought we were going to ride this time out together, but I completely understand. Just come by my office and I can submit the paperwork for you. Now, over at the hospital, Nate was in Monica's room talking with her doctor. Dr. Beck checked on Monica, but there were no changes in her condition. She let Nate know again that there was no telling when Monica would wake up, so all they could do was continue to monitor her. And before leaving, she checked Nate's bandages and told him that they were healing nicely and that it looked like he'd be ready to get out of the hospital in a few days. Nate tried to call the detectives, but he didn't get an answer. But he did leave them some nasty messages. Then he turned on the TV and he saw a reporter talking to Detective Martins. Detective Martins was saying that the suspect's name was Freddie Ford and that there was a $50,000 reward for any information that leads to his arrest. Nate was frustrated after listening to the news report, so he turned off the TV, called Abby, and told her to bring him some clothes. Abby arrived in about an hour. Abby, I really don't want to do this, but I feel like the detectives are forcing my hands. I don't feel like they're doing enough. I need to be out there working. I'm going to go to my room and change, then talk to my doctor, and then we out of here. While I'm doing that, call Waters and let him know that we need to talk to Freddie's people. And if he offers any resistance, remind him of the deal we have regarding his daughter. Back over there at Joni's, Joni and Nathaniel were outside playing, and Freddie was checking the internet to see if there were any stories out about what happened in Chicago. And he did come across an article about Nate and Monica, and there was a $50K bounty on his head. And that pissed Freddie off because Nate wouldn't give him his money or the house. But he had $50K to put on his head. Freddie started pacing, and then he heard his name on the TV, and there was a detective talking about the bounty. Freddie felt a little relieved that it was on a local channel in Chicago and not a national channel. But he still knew that he had to figure something out. Even though it was coming out of Chicago, he knew that the police will eventually expand their search. And he did not want the day to come when Joni's house may be surrounded by cop cars. He heard the door opening, so he switched the channel. Joni and Nathaniel were coming in, and that was the last thing he wanted them to see. Now, back with Nate and Abby, they arrived at his house like a few hours later. Nate was on the phone with Detective Davis trying to find out if they had any new information. Detective Davis told him that they talked to Mrs. Ford, but she did not know where her son was because when he came to talk to her, he didn't tell her anything. He just told her that he did something bad. She told him not to tell her what it was because if the police stopped by, she didn't want to lie to them. Nate wanted to know if they had found out anything useful. Mr. Kenny. I can only imagine how you feel, but I need to remind you that I'm the detective on this case, not you. When and if Freddie is found, it will be because we found him. So once you step back and realize that I don't take orders from you, things will run much more smoothly. Do you understand? Have a nice day, Detective Davis. Nate hung up, and then he and Abby got out of the car. Abby grabbed his bags from the trunk and walked up to unlock the door. But Nate stopped her because the last time he was home, he was almost unalive. So he was having flashbacks in that moment. Abby, did you take care of everything in there? Yes, sir. The house was clean from top to bottom. Carpeting was replaced as well as the living room furniture. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we can go in. Abby went in first and did a full sweep of the house. By the time she came back down, Nate was just standing in the foyer. He felt like a stranger in his own home. Everything is all clear, sir. Nate walked into the living room where he started having flashbacks, but he quickly shook off those emotions because he said that he refused to be scared in his own home. He sat down on the new sofa and told Abby that the detectives were incompetent and that he felt like if they kept trying to rely on them, they would never find Freddie or Nathaniel. I'm sorry, sir, but there really isn't much to go on. But I did tell Waters that we would pick him up tomorrow to go visit Freddie's mother. But do you really think that will make a difference? She said she didn't know anything when the detectives interviewed her. Maybe she wasn't interviewed the right way, sir. So the night after Lewis had the conversation with Celicia, he asked her if she'd ever heard the name Brian Wilson, and Celicia said that it sounded familiar. If she remembered correctly, Selena said that he lived in the neighborhood. So the next day after that conversation, Lewis went back to the old neighborhood asking any and everybody if they knew Brian. He didn't have much luck until he saw a homeless man standing in front of the store. He was like, look, what the heck? He might know something. The man told him that Brian lived across the street with his wife and 2 kids, but he wasn't home and that he didn't get off of work until 6 o'clock. So Lewis came back at 6, banging on Brian's door. What's up, man? Who are you? Hey, we knew the same girl, and we need to talk. So why don't you step out here so we can do that? Man, are you crazy? This the hood. I ain't no fool. Nah, it ain't even like that. You knew Selena, who stayed around the corner? You used to F her? Man, listen, I don't know what you talking about, and if you don't get off my porch, I'm gonna slam this door in your face. And if you do, I'll tell your wife and kids what you be doing around the corner. Man, what is this about? Step out and I'll tell you. Brian was hesitant, but he unlocked the security door and stepped out on the porch. Now, did you know Selena? Yeah, but what does it matter? She's deceased now. I heard she OD'd. Lewis pulled out a picture of Layla and showed it to Brian. Oh, she's a cute little girl. But what does this little girl on this picture have to do with me? Is she yours? You used to F Selena and she had a baby. Okay, I used to F a lot of girls, but that don't mean every baby running around here is mine. It does when your name is on the birth certificate. Lewis passed the birth certificate to Brian, and he couldn't believe his eyes. Nah, man, I only have 2 kids, and they upstairs, and you ain't about to make me say I have another one. Listen, I ain't even here for that. I was always told that this child is mine, and I just need to know if I try to adopt her, that you won't try and stop me. Stop you? I already told you, bro. How many times I gotta tell you? I only have 2 kids. Just promise me that you won't bring any of this around my doorstep no more. I promise you, I won't. I promise. But you need to sign something, like some adoption papers or something. Okay, whatever, man. Just let me know, and I'll do it. Now, over there with Daphne, Daphne had called Mrs. Weatherly to see if it was okay to visit her. When she arrived, Mrs. Weatherly offered her something to drink and let her know that it was nice to see her. I hope you don't mind me calling you earlier. I just wanted to make sure you were okay and to let you know that I really missed you. No, I don't mind. And I never got the chance to tell you how sorry I was that things didn't work out between you and Mr. Kenny. I thought you two made a perfect couple. But by him being my employer, it really wasn't my place to voice my opinion. I perfectly understand. Daphne, how is he? Do you know? Tim called me and told me that he survived, but I haven't had the courage to go see him yet. He's fine, but you said he was your employer? What do you mean by was? Well, the day it all happened, I had taken a sleeping aid. I didn't hear any other shots, but all of a sudden I just woke up and I could feel something was terribly wrong. I walked over to the main house, and when I walked in, there were police everywhere. Yellow tape was everywhere. Blood. Oh my God. My, the blood. When I saw all of that, baby, I fainted. Oh, it's okay, Mrs. Weatherly. That was a natural reaction. I thought after I spent some time here at my sister's house, to give myself time to get over the trauma, that I'd be ready to go back. But I can never go back there. But he'll need someone to take care of him when he gets out of the hospital. And he'll need help with Nathaniel and Layla. And Mrs. Kenny, how is she? She's in a coma. But they don't know if she'll wake up. And you're right, Daphne. They're going to need someone, but I can't do it. I just can't. Mrs. Weatherly, it's okay. Your feelings are valid. It's understandable. Well, Nate trusted you before. Why don't you do it? You know what? I just might have to. Now, over there with Abby, Nate, and Lewis. So it's the next day, right? Abby, Nate, and Lewis went to Kia's house first. Lewis talked to her the day before and told her that Abby wanted to ask her some questions about Freddie. At first, she didn't want to, but Lewis convinced her. They knocked on the door, and Kia walked them all into the living room. Everyone took a seat, and then Kia looked at Nate and said, "So you're the man that ruined Freddie's life." I was trying to help him. Bullshit. He was doing fine until he met you. He got his real estate license. Him and Lewis was going to open a real estate company. We were going to have a baby. Everything was good. Miss Martin, I'm sorry with how things went. Your apology don't mean to me. I wish he did take you out of here. Lewis was shocked at what Kia said. He placed his arm around her shoulder to comfort her. I apologize. That was wrong. We've just been going through a lot. Nate told her that he understood and that he accepted her apology. And with Lewis filling her in on everything, that he knew that she understood how important it was for him to find Freddie and his son. Freddie didn't take your son. He wouldn't do anything like that. Well, I don't know him like you do, but if you tell me what he said the last time he saw you, anything will help. I already told the police that he stopped by a few nights ago. He told me that he did something wrong, that it was bad, that he had to do it to make up for what you did to him. That's all he said. He didn't say anything else. Did he say where he was going? No. And the only place he would go would be home. But you took that from him. So once they finished talking to Kia, they went on to Freddie's uncle's house to talk to Freddie's mom. On the ride over, Nate suggested that Abby speak with the mom because he felt like if Kia blamed him for what happened, then he feels like the mom would too. Yes, sir. What should the tone of the questioning be? Whatever tone you think will get the information we need. So now they were sitting in the uncle's house talking to Freddie's mom. Mrs. Ford, my name is Abby Kurt. I know that Mr. Waters informed you that we were coming to you with just a few questions regarding your son. And as you know by now, your son is responsible for popping 2 people. And the police are trying to find him. And we believe that he is obviously in hiding. And we just want to know if you know where he is. Nate was staring straight in Mrs. Ford's eyes to see if she was going to lie. I don't know anything. The last time I talked with my son was 4 nights ago when he told me that he did something bad and that the police would be looking for him. And he was about to tell me what happened, and I told him I ain't want to know. I really don't know where he is. And he would have been with Lewis, but him and Lewis not friends anymore. So you're trying to tell us that you have no idea where your son is? Well, I'm not trying to get you to believe anything. I'm just telling you what Freddie said. Okay, Well, do you love your son? Yes. What kind of question is that? You love him even though he unalived your husband? Louis got up after that question and called Abby out about it, but Abby held up her hand to silence him. Mrs. Ford, I know I don't have to inform you that your son is a violent, remorseless red rum. The police know that he is armed, and there is a good chance that when they find him, they will pop him on sight. Is that what you want? Do you want your only son filled with holes? No, I don't want anything to happen to my child. Well, tell us where he is. Because they will unalive him, and then they are going to come and get you and lock you up for obstruction of justice. And you'll really have nothing then. This time, Louis stepped to Abby and told her there was enough. Then he went to sit beside Mrs. Ford because she was really distraught. She kept telling Abby that she didn't know anything. Abby was about to drill her again until Nate tapped her on the arm and told her not to. This time, Nate got up and walked over to her. Mrs. Ford, I'm the man that your son popped. Oh, so you're the man who took my husband's house from me? Yes, I took your house, and then your son popped me, my wife, and took my 3-year-old son. And whatever he's going through right now, he's taking my son through it too. Is there anything you can think of that your son may have said that can help us find him, even if you think it's small? I'm sorry. I am so sorry. And your baby shouldn't be involved in any of this, but I don't know anything. Like I said, he told me he did something bad. He was about to tell me what it was. I told him not to. And right before I stopped him, he said that he was leaving. That's what he said? He was leaving? Yeah, he said he was leaving, like leaving Chicago. Nate thanked her and gave her his card. He told her to call him if Freddie contacted her. After that, Nate and Abby went to the police precinct to speak with Davis and Martins, but only Martins was there. The two men shook hands and Martins let Nate know that Davis informed him that they had talked. You're not going to find Ford in Chicago. He's left. I spoke with his mother this morning. When we spoke to her, she said she knew nothing. Well, she thought it was nothing. But Detective, Freddie is no longer in Chicago. I need you all to expand that search and raise the reward to $100K. Will you do that? Or is there someone with more authority I need to talk to? No, I'll go back over and talk with the mom and do what you asked. Over there with Freddie, he had a lot on his mind. It was 1 in the morning and he was laying in the bed, fully clothed. And he was thinking about how close Joni was getting to him and Nathaniel and how he had started having feelings for her again too. And that's why he got up, went and put some clothes on a sleeping Nathaniel, tiptoed out of the house, put the car in neutral, and pushed it out of the driveway. Once in the street, he started it and drove off. But when he got to the red light, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know where to go, who to call, or who could help him. He just knew that he didn't want Joni to get caught up in any of his mess. But with nowhere to go and no one to call, once the light turned green, he made a U-turn and went back to Joni's. He closed the door quietly and was about to head upstairs when he heard Joni say, I wish you would have at least told me you were leaving. Whatever you did must have been really bad. Back in Chicago, Daphne stopped by the hospital to see Nate, but to her surprise, he wasn't there. So she walked down to the nurse's station to see if he had been moved to another room, but the nurse told her that he discharged himself 2 days ago. Daphne wondered why didn't he call her for a ride home, or at least let her know that he was going to be discharged or discharge himself. And then she thought about it and was wondering if perhaps Monica had awakened. So she went to Monica's room but stopped at the door when she saw that someone was in there. And that person was Louis. She watched as Louis held her hand, cried, prayed, and then he stood to get himself ready to leave, but then he kissed Monica on the lips. And Daphne knew then that this man was more than just a friend. When Louis walked out of the room into the elevator, Daphne acted like she had to get on the elevator as well. And when they made it to the ground floor and Louis stepped off of the elevator, Daphne asked him, how did he know Monica Kinney? Who are you? I'm Daphne Coleman, And not too long ago, I was Nate's fiance. And as soon as Lewis heard Nate's name, he lost it. So Daphne asked him if he wanted to go to the coffee shop across the street. And 45 minutes later, Lewis had filled Daphne in on everything, to how he met Nate, the plan, how he blackmailed him, his best friend Freddie, to what caused Nate to end up in the situation that he was in. Wait, so Nate know who did this to him? Yes, Nate brought all of this on himself, but now he wants to scoot around with that walker like he's a victim. And you and Monica were going to get married, but then Nate came back into the picture. Yeah, Monica was raising my little girl, but now Nate has her, and he said he's not giving her back. And I don't want to, but I think I'm going to have to go to the police. No, 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 no. And I don't know why I'm telling you no, but you want Monica back, and I want Nate back. So I'm thinking that we might just be able to help each other out. Child, one thing these folk gonna do is come up with a plan. Now, after me with Daphne, they really put a lot on Lewis's mind, so he decided to stop by the DCFS office to see if Eva was there because he needed to talk to somebody. So he was hoping that Eva took her lunch around that time. Lewis told Eva that he didn't come back to the DCFS office the other day because he didn't know if Layla was his, that his name wasn't on her birth certificate, and the guy whose name is on it doesn't want anything to do with Layla. You gotta find out if she's yours. You're gonna have to take a paternity test, and once you get the results back, you can go through the process of getting her back. I know, I plan on doing that tomorrow, but at the same time, I'm scared because what if she isn't mine? Eva tried to calm Lewis's nerves, and she asked him, when you think about her and all the time you've been her dad, in your heart, do you feel like she's yours? Lewis said he did. So Eva told him, well, the test will prove that. Now back over there with Freddie, he was awakened by some people talking. At first he couldn't make out the voices, so he moved closer to the open window, but he couldn't see anything because first of all, it's dark in the country and the people were standing on the porch. As he listened closely, he could hear Joni, and then another person spoke, and it was Sam. Freddie couldn't believe that Joni was out there talking to that man. So he went and stood in the living room to wait for her to come in. And when she walked in, she was not expecting to see Freddie. Joni, why are you out there talking to that man? That man put his hands on you, and you still talking to his ass? It's not what you think. I was telling him that I can't see him anymore because I'm seeing someone else. And I know we ain't really talked about getting back together, but you're here, and it seems like you need me since you tried to sneak out, but you had to come back. I wasn't trying to sneak out. There's just a lot going on. Joni went and stood in front of Freddie and told him to just tell her what was going on because he could trust her. She said she wanted him back. Freddie wrapped his arms around her because he realized that she was right. He did need her, and maybe they could get back together. So later on that morning, Joni took Nathaniel with her to the grocery store and to the mall. Freddie really didn't want her to, but they went anyway. And now he was wishing he stuck with his first mind because them folks had been gone for about 5 hours now. He was starting to get worried. He looked out the screen door like 1,000 times. But then he heard Joni's car pull up and he went and stood on the porch. But Joni didn't get out. When he looked over to the passenger seat, Nathaniel was hitting on the window crying. Freddie ran to the driver's side and pulled the door open. He asked Joni what was wrong, but she didn't say anything and she didn't look at him. All he saw was big, dark sunglasses, but he also saw redness and swelling. Joni, please tell me you didn't go see that man. Take the glasses off. Joni wouldn't take off her glasses, so Freddie yelled and told her to take the glasses off. And Joni slowly pulled the glasses off her face, and when she did, Freddie saw how bad things really were. Both of her eyes were swollen and bruised. One was practically shut. Her lips and nose were puffy and blood-stained, and all Freddie could imagine was Sam's big tail standing over Joni, just wailing on her. Freddie gently reached into the car and helped Joni out, and she cringed and moaned at every move. Once he got her out of the car, he went to the other side and got Nathaniel and brought both of them in the house. And in his head, he was telling himself that he wished Sam hadn't forced his hand. but there will be hell to pay. Later on that night, Freddie had Joni to take him to Sam's house. She really didn't want to, but Freddie wasn't taking no for an answer. They made it to Sam's and he stayed even deeper in the country than Joni did. But Freddie thought that was a good idea because if he had to let off a few pops, well, nobody here. What are you going to do, Freddie? What are you going to do? I'm just going to talk to the man. I just need you to wait out here in the car with Nathaniel, and no matter what you hear, don't come in. And if I ain't out in 10 minutes, leave. Drive off. You hear me? Joni saw the look in Freddie's eyes, and she told him, okay, I hear you. Freddie grabbed the baseball bat from the back floorboard, and Joni asked him what was that for because he said he was only going to talk. And Joni knew that Freddie had a temper. Just in case. That's all. Just in case. Freddie gave Joni a kiss and got out. And he was hoping that his shirt didn't raise up because he didn't want her to see that 9 tucked in his waistband. Freddie walked up the steps to the front door and started banging on the door. He could see that the TV was on in the front, and then he heard footsteps. Sam started opening the door, and then Freddie kicked it in, which made Sam stumble backwards and fall on his back. He was holding his own piece and was trying to point it at Freddie, but Freddie swung that bat and knocked it out of his hand. Then he caught Sam in his left shin. Freddie heard the loud crack when he made contact and the loud shriek that Sam made. Then Freddie swung that bat again and broke the other leg. Then he straddled Freddie and did the same thing to his face that Sam did to Joni's. When Freddie finished, Sam was barely moving. But Freddie knew he was still alive because he could see the man's eyes following him through his barely open eyelids. Freddie got up when he got Sam's piece and stood over him and pointed it between his eyes. Didn't she tell you to leave her alone? I know she told you because I heard her when she told you that. So I need you to give me one reason why I should make sure you never hurt her again. Please, man, please. I promise I'll never do it again. For some strange reason, Freddie felt like he believed him, but he still thought that his last breath should have been in that moment. But Freddie was trying to stop unaliving people. He felt like the 5-0 had to go because he was a threat. But Sam, he ain't nobody. It wasn't nothing to him. So he told him that if he ever saw him again, that would be the last time he saw sunlight. Freddie took Sam's piece with him and walked back to the car. When Freddie got in, the light from the inside showed all blood all over Freddie's body. Freddie, what did you do? You said you was just going to talk to him. What did you do? I took care of the like I said. Now drive, please, and stop all that hollering before you wake up the kid. Alright, y'all, that was it for part 3. Y'all get down in the comments and let me know what you think, baby, because I need to know, why do these folks keep planning stuff? Like, Lewis, you don't even know Daphne, so why are you planning something with her? And Freddie, you need to hurry up and figure something out, baby, because I know you falling for Joni and Joni falling for you, and she said that you could trust it, baby, but when somebody hear 100K, all that trust sometimes go out the window. I don't know if she gonna do you like that, but we gonna see. Y'all get down in the comments. I really appreciate y'all over here on this book club page. Please continue to share it. Share it on your Instagram stories so that more people can come over here and join us. Share it on your YouTube. Let's just keep sharing it and keep growing this platform, okay? I thank y'all for everything, and I'll talk to y'all later.